And we will now pivot to the global energy landscape. What is the situation today, and how will the next 5, 15, 25 years unfold? What is the energy challenge, and how are the current and foreseen plans and policies aligned to deliver? Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to welcome to the stage Mr. Brent Wanner of the International Energy Agency to deliver prepared remarks from Mr. Fatih Birol, IEA Executive Director. The IEA is well known for its yearly flagship report, the World Energy Outlook. And this year, the IEA has released a special report on energy and AI, very relevant to this symposium. As a leading voice in global energy policy, Mr. Birol continues to champion innovation and sustainability across the energy sector. Mr. Wanner.
Thank you very much, and good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to be here, and my privilege, really, to represent the International Energy Agency and Dr. Birol, who unfortunately, regretfully, could not be with you here today in person. But this is particularly challenging, not only following the Director General Grossi, his remarks, but also for two particular reasons. One, the Executive Director, Dr. Birol, very much looks forward to any opportunity to speak about nuclear energy and its role in the global energy mix. And the second is he always enjoys very much the conversations with DG Grossi about many things, and very much including football there. So a missed opportunity. And as an American, unfortunately, my knowledge on football is quite limited. So. And the Executive Director also wishes all the best in DG Grossi's efforts in the next few months. So on behalf of Dr. Birol and the International Energy Agency, I would like to deliver some prepared remarks and a brief statement. So when we look just in the recent past, if we look back just to 2021, Dr. Birol stood on the stage in Paris at the World Nuclear Exhibition and dared to say that nuclear power might make a comeback. This was at a time still when this was in doubt. But where are we now, just 4 years later? Many things have changed in that time frame. We have endured a global energy crisis and energy market volatility. There is greater geopolitical tension in the world today, in different parts of the world. Trade and other major developments are ongoing. Now, all of these trends have had a major impact on the global energy scene. However, there are two important things that we anticipated well and that proved to be correct. The first is that nuclear power is definitely making a comeback, and I'll say more about that. The second is that what we defined as the first footsteps of the age of electricity have now become very clear and very loud. For the age of electricity, the growing role of electricity is not something new for the International Energy Agency, and as the head of the power sector unit, I look after this and work on this day to day. What we have in the new World Energy Outlook 2025, which was released just a few weeks ago, our flagship publication, is very much focused on the age of electricity and announcing that we are in the age of electricity today. If we just look back even a few years there, I was looking at the 2018 edition of the World Energy Outlook that we entitled "The Future is Electrifying." So we are essentially living in the future. To be clear, we are still also in an age of oil and gas, and our energy system will use molecules for many years to come. But dynamics in the power sector are really striking, with a multiplication and strengthening of key drivers underpinning the age of electricity. At the IEA, we love to get our hands dirty with numbers, and allow me to share a few of those. Over the last decade, electricity use has grown at more than twice the pace of global energy demand. In the next decade, we project that global electricity demand will grow at least 2.5 times faster than global energy demand. And why? Because we are electrifying everything. Industrial processes, transportation, data centers, and of course, artificial intelligence, as well as cooling. Let me give a few examples. For AI, as we'll speak, I'm sure, certainly over the next 2 days, a medium-sized data center consumes the electricity equivalent to 100,000 households. And we are seeing data centers growing very rapidly in many countries, as DG Grossi mentioned. Electric vehicles, today 1 in 4 cars sold in the world is electric, and that number and share is rising. And that electrification is spreading to many parts of the world in the transport sector, including trucks, as well as passenger vehicles. Cooling is probably the most overlooked source of electricity demand growth. In Japan or the United States, 90% of households have air conditioning. But in India, this number is less than 30%. In Indonesia, less than 20%. And for example, in Nigeria, is less than 10%. So there is a lot of growth and potential for growth there on the horizon. If you take all of these drivers together, from AI, electric vehicles, and cooling, it's clear how large electricity demand growth could be in the years ahead. We project that total global electricity demand will increase by more than 10,000 terawatt hours by 2035. To give you an idea of what how large that number is, that is the equivalent of all the electricity demand consumed today across all advanced economies, across the United States, the European Union, Japan, Korea, Australia, and many more countries. So that 10,000 terawatt hours is a challenge for the global electricity system. And for artificial intelligence, we hear every day about new plans of building additional facilities. Today, as mentioned, over 400 terawatt hours of electricity is used to power those data centers, which is about 2% of the global electricity system. But it's very concentrated. As mentioned, it can be a major driver of demand growth. For example, even in a large country, in the United States, over 50% of electricity demand growth we project to come from data centers and AI to 2030. But AI can also help with the energy system. As we said in our IAEA Energy and AI report earlier, released in April this year, there is no AI without energy, but AI could transform the energy industry. And in a world that is warming and where cooling is still a privilege for few, especially in developing regions, the electricity use in air conditioners is set to grow exponentially. So how will we meet all of this additional demand? Today, the global power system is still largely based on fossil fuels, mainly coal and gas. That makes up almost 60% of the total. So we'll need a range of technologies to do this. Renewables such as solar PV, wind, and hydro will play a massive role, meeting the large majority of increasing demand. But nuclear will certainly have a central role as well in the countries that nuclear is politically accepted. So about that nuclear comeback, the international context for nuclear power has shifted rapidly over the last few years, and there are many drivers for this, from the growing electricity demand to the need for baseload reliable power. There are also exogenous drivers, as mentioned, the global context and energy security rising up the global energy agenda. The data shows that nuclear comeback is here, that nuclear is making a comeback. There are over 40 countries with solid plans to expand the use of nuclear energy and many more interested in nuclear energy. Today, we have one of the highest levels of construction that we've had in the last 30 years. Investment is rising. 2025 is set to be a record year for global nuclear generation. and small modular reactors are coming. However, to make this reality, to translate this interest and plans into reality, we need everyone, governments, regulators, industry, we need them to do their homework. And the executive director, Dr. Birol, would like to highlight 4 main jobs to accomplish this. The first is on credibility. We have to acknowledge the recent challenges in the nuclear industry, in longtime leaders, where projects have been delayed, there have been cost overruns for large reactors, particularly in advanced economies. But we need to overcome this, and there's a responsibility that's clear for governments and authorities to accelerate and streamline the bureaucratic and permitting processes, as these are often too lengthy. The second point is on supply chains. Supply chains are a huge geopolitical and economic topic, and nuclear power is no exception. It's extremely important to have robust and diverse supply chains for nuclear energy. However, when we look at the nuclear industry, we see a high level of concentration for technologies, for construction, and also for the fuel supply chain. Today, more than 99% of enrichment capacity is concentrated in just 4 supplier countries. This might well represent a major risk factor in the future. So greater diversity of uranium and enrichment services is essential for a secure and affordable expansion of the nuclear sector. The third main job for the nuclear industry is on financing, which remains a major issue for nuclear today. Nuclear energy requires a huge amount of investment, and these projects have been difficult to finance because of their scale, long construction times, and technical complexity. This has meant heavy involvement from governments. But to deliver on the plans and ambitions in the nuclear industry, we need private financing to play a role. And there, reducing those cost overruns, reducing those delays for new nuclear construction is a prerequisite for that to happen. We're talking about an industry where traditionally a break-even point for a nuclear project is 20 to 30 years after the original construction start. That needs to be shortened, and we need to ensure and take steps that there is a predictable cash flow to unlock that investment. And the fourth and final point, very much related to the topic of the symposium, is on innovation. It's a watchword in the energy scene, and it's bringing forward many advanced technologies in the nuclear space, and in particular, small modular reactors that can make a huge contribution to a new era for nuclear energy. There's huge interest in SMRs around the world, and in this case, it's very clear that small can be beautiful. SMRs may offer lower upfront costs, reduce project risk and financing, and lower financing costs, and in some cases, reduce safety and waste management challenges. It may also cut construction times and lead to a shorter break-even period. But standardization of designs and permitting processes are essential to make this possible and to drive down costs. We see those costs coming down in the years ahead, with the first projects outside of China and Russia reaching the market around 2030, and leading companies aiming to drive these costs down rapidly. In particular, the strong interest of many tech companies for adopting nuclear power to power data centers and AI could be a leading factor in developing SMRs. There are agreements in place for more than 30 gigawatts of SMRs to power data centers, and that number is already 20% higher than it was at the beginning of the year. So that number will surely continue to increase. And in conclusion, governments have a unique capacity to provide the strategic vision, policies, and incentives, and the public finance that can move forward the nuclear sector. While not all countries see a role for nuclear technologies, for those that do, nuclear can provide services and scale that are difficult to replicate with other clean technologies. The market, technology, and policy foundations are in place for a new era of nuclear growth, a new era of growth in nuclear energy over the coming decades. So governments and industries need to build on those foundations to unlock private sector activity, including to power AI. So thank you very much, and best of luck for this very important event. Thank you.